Peace, partner. This is another episode of the Afro Rico show for the culture. And it's an honor to have this brother on, an elder of mine, a wise man, brother Tyrone Stephens. How you doing today, man?
Hey, what's going on, Justin?
I can't complain.
What, what's going on? You all right? You over there in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, but it looked like we're in
Yeah,
the same place.
yeah. I got a little small Puerto Rico back here. A little
Right
small
on.
Puerto Rico, little
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I had to come over here, man. I like to get into the trees, man. You know what I'm saying? To just feel better, man. Even though it's a little humid out here because it's storm season. Matter of fact, it's thundering right now. I was gonna go inside in the AC and the bright lights, but I said, man, well, while it ain't raining, let's go ahead and kick it. I like to be outside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we'll jump
Hmm.
right into it, Ty. We ain't gonna waste too much time because we got
Yeah,
about
let's
30
do that.
minutes. Yeah, so I'm thinking,
Okay.
today, uh, first, I want to ask you a few questions, and this show, the intent of this show is to really give people more of an insight into my brand because Afro Rico I want it to be like a warm embrace. You know how when you ain't seen somebody in a while, somebody that you really got love for, you know what I'm saying, and they hug you so strong. Well, that's the intent for every article of clothing that I send out. When you put a hat on, when you put on a shirt from Afro Rico, I want to feel like a strong hug from a loved one, but I can't always get that message across just by, putting out items of clothing. So I figured content was another way for me to let people understand the intent behind the brand. You know what I'm saying? So the whole brand is really about building a bridge, and showing people that we got more alike, amongst the diaspora than we do have different.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fine. We can do that because after that we have a few minutes. I want to introduce Turning Point podcast as well, because I want to talk a little bit about imagination. But go
Well,
ahead. We're gonna do your thing.
yeah, well, let's talk about
Uh,
that now because you my guest. I was gonna ask you about that. What you got going on now.
okay, cool.
Yeah, so tell me
Yeah.
about the Turning Point podcast.
Well, the Turning Point podcast, man. When I first got into the Turning Point podcast, I just kind of jumped out there, man. I, I was an OG man, an old dude, 75 years old. I wasn't gonna take the rocket chair for it, so I
Right
jumped
on.
out. I was on 85 South back there. You had got me on that 85 South, way back in, I think that was 2017, man. So I've been just kind of procrastinating on it, man, and done a few Turning Point podcasts. But I have found my niche now, man. I have found my niche is to talk about uh, the power of imagination, man. You
Okay.
know, uh, and as it and talk about, how I came about, the imagination and so forth. I want to talk about that, man. I just don't want to talk about, my street activities, because my credentials in the street, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? New York Times, you know what I'm saying? I did what I did, but that ain't what I'm talking about. That's what I used to do, man. And, you know, I know that wasn't right. I served time for that, and now I'm on something else, man. The power. I didn't gather, how the power of imagination related to all the things that I did, man. Because I did some real monumental stuff, man. Go ahead,
Okay.
but you had a few questions.
Well, I was gonna say, man, that's what I love about you because when I look at this landscape of content, the reason I said, man, let me go ahead and wake up this giant within is because when I look on online, I can see a gap. You know what I'm saying? I can see where when you look up the power of positive thinking, manifestation, the science of the mind, most of the times you don't see everybody is coming from a same particular angle, suit and tie. They might not be corporate themselves, but they talking to corporate individuals. So for somebody like me that's entrepreneurial, you know what I'm saying, it don't always they message don't always land. You know what I'm saying? So I think you know, like you said, having a history of success, you know, on the street side, I think you could really reach a lot of people because I mean, imagination is everything. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be for imagination, we wouldn't be talking on this phone right now. You know what I'm saying? On this call right now.
No, no question, no question. You know, it's just like you know, James Allen wrote a book, As a Man Thinketh,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
said, "As a man thinketh in his heart, or as a man or woman thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Right.
And as he continue to think, so he remains." You
Okay.
know, so it's a lot of so that says a whole lot there, particularly in the black community, and
Yeah.
particularly in America, because in the black community, a lot of people think white folks is holding us down. They got systemic racism and this and that, and they hold us back. All that they got all that down, But the bad part about that is that we think that.
Yeah.
See, because if we don't think that something is holding us down, even if it's holding us down, we can get out of it. You know what I'm saying? Through the power of imagination, manifestation. If we change the paradigm as the way we think, because the paradigm ain't nothing but a bunch of thoughts that you didn't put in your head, and it goes from generation to generation, thousands of years ago, man. A bunch of thoughts that you didn't put in your head about, this, that, or the third. You know what I mean? That you can't do this, you can't do that, and so forth. So a lot of that, that we're bringing on ourselves, as well as as systemic racism and all that, and this country had deal with 200, 300, 400 years of slavery and Jim Crow. All that's a fact.
Yeah.
All that's a fact. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, but boy, the power of imagination, man, can bring us out of, poverty, because a lot of poverty starts in the mind too. Because
Yeah.
you got to accept that kind of shit. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? When I stepped out, I stepped out in the streets, man. I didn't accept no poverty. They told me that the game could get anything you wanted. And I
Right on.
believe that. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I believe it wholeheartedly, man. And the only reason I'm mentioning the game, because I ain't here to really talk about no street life. You know what I'm saying? Because you could check my record on that. I didn't did time for all that. I ain't here. I'm here to talk about the power of imagination, how I took the imagination, you know what I mean, and used that in the street to get to this level, that level, that level, that level, and on and on. That's that's
Well,
what I'm
yeah.
here to talk about, man.
Let me jump in because I want to make sure I'm
Sure.
understanding what you're saying. You think that because kind of what I'm hearing you say is the power of imagination is always at work. It's just what is you imagining? If you imagine nothing but poverty, if you imagine that you can't make it out of poverty, well, guess what, Jack? You can't make it out of poverty. But if you can see past that and see into a better life, but not only for yourself but for your people, you saying that's the type of imagination that we need to um tap into so we can make a change instead of just following on with status quo and constantly talking about what ain't going on and what ain't right instead of looking into a future that's got more solutions than problems. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, man. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And about the imagination, man. Uh, you know, everything you see, everything, like you said earlier, we on this Zoom. At one time, this was imaginations in somebody's mind. It didn't exist.
Right.
People had no thought about it, and somebody imagined that, man. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? Somebody imagined that. Imagination is powerful, man. I mean, and put with action. You got to put imagination in action. And you got to feel like as if though that you already doing it. That thing, you got to say, oh man. I mean, before it get there, you got to feel that thing, man. You got to eat, you got to sleep, and you got to drink that thing. It ain't nothing, ain't no miracle pill or nothing now. You know what I mean? But if you get into it and put your all in it, you eat, sleep, and drink it day in and day out. But show us we talking on, on this Zoom, man, and I can see you and you can see me. It's gonna happen, man. It's
So
gonna
you
happen.
think you said people got to eat, sleep, and drink it. You think that's part of what got people stuck? Because one of my questions was, what would you say to the dreamer who's stuck in thought but haven't gotten started yet? So before you answer that question, it sounds like you already kind of got alluding to that, where you saying it seems like if for you to say eat, drink, and what do you mean by that? You
Sleep,
got to, yeah. What do
eat,
you mean by that?
eat, sleep, and drink. I mean, you got to get up thinking about it. You got to go to sleep thinking about it. When you're eating, you got to think about it. You got to think about it in all your activities, man. Period. You got to think about it, and you got to see that thing in your imagination, and you got to put some joy in that. You got to feel this thing. Oh man, and because you got to see yourself exactly where you want to be.
Yeah.
You don't see yourself as mediocrity. You see yourself, on the top of the food chain.
Right.
You know,
Right.
yeah, man. When I struck out, man, I was in Detroit, man. You know, and I had had got my first Cadillac, man, and the repo man had possessed the car. You know
Oh
what I mean?
man.
I'm at my mother's house, man, with my girl, and so I went to my best friend's house. I said, hey man, I'm finna go to New York, man. I said I'm gonna be one of the best in what I do, or I'm going to the army. I ain't been to the
What?
army yet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
know. And so I went out there with that frame of mind, man. Now did I get disillusioned? Yeah, it was from time to time. I feel like, man, I may need to go to the army, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I just toughed it out. You gonna get to them points, but you just got to tough it out. You know, you got to
What
tough
what
it
what
out, man. Then
but okay, that's easy to say, but do you I know it's been a while, but even now, I know you gearing up. I know your story, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gotta act like no stranger. You done started with your podcast. You done went and traveled the world a little bit, and we should talk about that since the last show you did. I mean, you'll tell I ask you that after I make this statement, but it's easy to say that, but it's like, what do you do to get back in the rhythm, get back in the flow when you done lost your momentum? You know what I'm saying?
well, I'm one of the best men. I'm one of the best men in the country to explain that to you.
Okay.
Hey, because I lost my little drive, man. You know what I'm saying? You'll get caught up in trying to do this and do that, and you'll lose your momentum sometimes. That happens, and you be down. But the point is, you gonna be down because that's life. Life got ups and downs.
Yeah.
But can you get back up? That's the point. Can you get back up? Because if you can get back up, you could put this thing on track, man. You know what I mean? I don't care how long you've been down. You could put this thing on track, especially, if you didn't done it before. But if it's your first time, this your first rodeo and really doing it, all you got to do is stay focused on what you're talking about. You see yourself exactly how you want it to be. Don't say, well, if I can just get a little bit. No, don't say, well, I don't want to get rich. I just want to be comfortable. Get rich.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Get rich. Ain't nothing wrong with getting rich. Then
Yeah.
if you don't make it, you shoot for the moon. If you fall among the stars, then that's all right. You'll be shining. All them stars are shining. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I'm
So
glad you said that.
don't be scared. Don't be scared. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to have no money because they're afraid. They don't think that they can. You
Yeah.
follow what I'm saying? But this imagination will work on anything. This universal law. This ain't my law. This ain't your law. This ain't Tommy Tucker, and all them other people.
Right.
This is universal law, man. It has no respect to person. It just happens if you get in line with it. It happens, man. Just
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah, what Jim Rome was saying the other day, I was listening to him. He was saying, everything you want, like you were saying, don't be scared of it. You just got to figure out why you want it. Because he was saying when you got your why strong enough, and I know this to be true, because see, a lot of times we do shit on the natural and we don't break it down to a science. So when somebody break it down to a science, you can really resonate like, oh, okay, that's right, because I done did that. You know what I'm saying? I done did that 100 times. I just ain't never articulated it to myself, but I knew that's what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
he was talking about how whenever you want something, you just got to know why you want it. And when your why gets strong enough, that's your fire, that's your charge to go out and get it. The how is going to be complicated, but it don't matter because you're going to figure out how. If you sit around thinking about how, though, that shit could discourage you. But you think about why I want it, man, so my mama could see me shine, God damn it. You know what I'm saying? So my kids can see me glowing, and they don't got to come up in a world where they figuring out, oh, man, ain't nothing but poverty. We poverty-stricken and we poor. You know what I'm saying? Your why can be whatever it is. But if you got a why strong enough, it'll kind of shake some of that fear off. You know what I'm saying? Because your why is your purpose. You know, so I just want to say that because I do think that's important, man, for people to understand. If you thinking about, oh, I don't know what, I don't know how, forget all that. Know that you want to do something, and then know your reason why. You know what I'm saying? And use a pen and paper sometimes if you ain't figured it out yet and you watching this. Well, sit down. Okay, why do I want to be rich? Why do I want to be popular? Why do I want to have influence? You know what I'm saying? And sit down and answer them questions. But you about to say something, Todd.
Well, I'm glad you said that. You said what you said
Okay.
because that's very, very important. And see, it doesn't make no difference with the universe. Universe don't say if you apply these principles, if you just 36, and you ain't 40, it's gonna work. And if you 70 and you ain't 75, it's gonna work. It don't say nothing about no time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, listen, man, what you said, see, when I broke off from Detroit in 1972 in January, I never forget it.
Okay.
And I said, I'm going to New York. And I'm gonna be one of the best players at what I do. I'm gonna be one of the best, or I'm going to the Army. Now, I didn't say why I wanted to be the best.
Yeah.
So consequently, when I became one of the best, I didn't know why I wanted to be the best. I'm just, now I got it. Now what the fuck did I do? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? All I know to do is just keep going to get some money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you get money and you ain't doing nothing with it, of course, getting money now ain't the worst profession in the world now. But if you ain't got no purpose for reason why, you're going to get thrown off, man. And I got thrown off, man. You know what I'm saying? But, by God's grace, it ain't never too late to get yourself back on track. That's what I'm trying to say. At 75, man, soon be 76. I'm traveling around the world, man. Me and my lady, I've been to Australia. I've been to South America. I've been to every continent, except huh? No, not everyone on the planet. One continent I ain't been to. That's
Antarctica.
Antarctica. You took the words right out of my mouth, man. You got to help me out because when you get a little old, you be like Biden. You might skip some stuff.
Don't be like Biden.
But
Please don't be like Biden. No, you got to tap into that Obama mind, man. Stay sharp.
Yeah. Well, I'm staying sharp. That's why I'm on here with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm staying sharp, but I'm gonna put a little humor in there. You know what I mean?
Well, that's one thing that's helping me out, man. When you talk about, because me and you was having this conversation the other day, and I was telling you, Ty, man, I'm feeling this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been telling you, I can see this shit. And it ain't like, when people talk about visualization and seeing and having a vision and having a dream, you know what they talking about if you ever had that, but you might not know what they talking about if you ain't never had that. So you might think somebody sit down and have a dream that's clear and vision. They see themselves with a diamond watch on and driving a nice car and pulling up to a nice home. Some people do foresee themselves that way. I think they gifted in that way to have that foresight. But when I'm saying I'm seeing it a lot of times, I'm saying I'm feeling it. I'm already feeling like I'm having my way. So I'm knowing all I got to do is put, because I done it too many times before in the past. All I got to do is put one foot in front of the other, and I'm going to end up in a new destination to have me like, oh man, I done came a long way. You know what I'm saying? So I think
Mm-hmm.
anybody listening to this that's hearing us, if this sounds vague, what we talking about, to make it concrete, what we saying is, man, what I'm saying is a life, every life that's given is a life with purpose. So it's up to you to sit down and figure out, okay, what is my purpose in life? Now it ain't got to be no big grand thing, you know what I'm saying, about saving humanity, but just about what's gonna get me out of bed every day so I don't fall a victim to what they call the devil's civilization, to feeling like I'm just a victim of the system. I'm just a victim of the circumstance. This is whether you white, black, brown, male, female, trans, whatever. You got God bless everybody with free will. So ain't no point, especially in this day and age, of walking around feeling all sad and gloomy like you ain't got no purpose, you ain't got no meaning, it ain't nothing you could do. If you feeling that way, you probably are consuming the wrong foods, mentally, spiritually, and physically. So you're probably watching the wrong programs, you're probably not reading anything that's stimulating your mind, and you're probably eating food that's keeping your vibration low. So I just wanted to put that out there because that's one of the things that I want, and I know you telling me that, part of your subject matter on your show is health and wealth. And I just think it's important that the reason I enjoy having you on as an elder is because who better to speak to the the journey of life than an elder. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to talk to a 17-year-old that think they got life figured out and shit, but they ain't really lived. It's different to talk to somebody 75 and like you said, them travel, you know what I'm saying, every continent on the planet. Some people can't even fathom leaving their own hometown. I mean, they literally cannot fathom living anywhere outside of their hometown. So for a brother to have transcribed the globe, you know what I'm saying, and to still be able to say, I want to get on here and make a podcast, even though I'm 70-something years old, I really take my hat off to you. You got me charged up, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking, I can't act like, you know what I'm saying, I'm sitting up in a rocking chair, you know what I'm saying? I'm building this. What I realize is it's a few small problems that black people have, and I'm black. And one of them is we don't circulate the black dollar, which means we don't intentionally go out and say, before I spend my money with anybody, if I'm going to go buy a bottle of water, I'm going to see if there's a black person that's selling it or a black person that owns the company that I could buy from. If it ain't, okay, well, then I just get whatever's available. You know what I'm saying? But if I can find somebody right in my neighborhood that I can get it from that's black, I'm going to do that first. Second thing is because we don't circulate our dollars the same, we don't have enough institutions to where we can cultivate power. So this my business, my small business is my idea for my institution that I can help make a contribution to this world that I'm living in. You know what I'm saying? And that I'm handing off to my children and that they gonna hand off to their children.
Yeah, let me jump in. Let me jump in and let me jump in for a second because you said something that's very important. You know about the black dollar. You know they've been talking about that. You know I remember. You know what I'm saying when black folks when the money that black folks were spending was $1 billion. Now it's all the way up to $1.5 trillion or $2 trillion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so obviously I've heard this story a long time. But
Right.
let me tell you my take on it, man. You know, my take on it, imagine that if folks, entrepreneurs and consumers, black consumers and black entrepreneurs start using their imagination, you know, to see that they are spending dollars with one another. See, you got to act as if though it is before it happened. You can't act like it's like that when it happened, you know, because it ain't gonna never happen that way. You got to put the horse before the cart, you know, and putting the horse for the cart is using the imagination. You
Okay.
got to use, a person has to use, not you per se, I'm just saying, you understand this. Person have to use their imagination, you know, to see, you know, what that does when, you know, when black folks is spending money with one another, and then they got institutions where blacks, you know, can go and borrow money for other blacks who had entrepreneurial ideas and so forth that were serious about, you know, about what they're doing, you know, and we have and the consumer has to use his imagination that, what if I spend my money with all black people? You know what I mean? That means that my son or daughter or my next door neighbor or my cousin or niece or nephew, if they want to do something, they have an opportunity. I'm playing a part. See,
Yeah.
because, you know, the entrepreneur and the consumer, they together. You know, imagine that. You know, because if you don't have one, you can't have the other one.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? They got
Yeah.
to be together. And
Yeah.
using that imagination, man, you know what I'm saying? You can change your behavior, and you change your destiny. You know, and our destiny would be to use those $1.5 trillion that, you know, we get more money than the country of Russia, man. And they got a military and
And
everything.
everything.
You follow what I'm saying? You know, and we have to start imagining that. See, we
Yeah.
can't get there without imagination. I don't
Right.
care how you shake or stick at it. You got to use imagination, man. You know, and you got to, you know what I'm saying? Like, and have the why in there, and let the why get strong enough. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you be you joyful about it when you wake up. You can't wait till daytime. You can't wait till your feet hit the floor. So, all right, I'm working towards this thing now, baby. It
Yeah.
ain't long now. How
Yeah.
long? Not long now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Not long. So this is this imagination is powerful, man. And another thing, but go ahead. You want to say something? I want to
Well,
say one more
I
thing.
can see what you're saying, Ty, and you're right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, even if something is a minority, if you can see it and you can focus on it. So if the majority of everything around you is negative, but there's a small minority that's positive, you got to speak to the positive. Ain't no point in sitting there speaking to the negative. That's already the majority. That's already got consumed everything. And what you saying, that it's like, I see it. I mean, I don't know what the stats was in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, blah, blah, but I see so many pages on social media that are pages geared towards highlighting black businesses telling their success stories, where, you know, they getting all these clientele, you know, from all over the country supporting their products. You know, they done went from being or just a typical small business to making millions of dollars a year, you know, building a real business with real employees. So I see it, and I think that's where we're trending towards. I think that's where we're headed, because the thing about technology, the thing about knowledge is, people are naturally, knowledge is what sets us apart from all the other creatures. That's what makes us so-called superior, because we have the ability to exchange knowledge in a unique way. So when we get hip to knowledge, which is just a living piece of information, like knowing that there's so many black businesses and black women entrepreneurs is on the rise, and this, that, and the third. Um, I think people are knowing more and more of that type of stuff, and they understanding the value, like with this thing going on in Palestine, of not just supporting these big corporations like Starbucks and all that, that's contributing to these crimes against humanity. So it's a natural thing for people to start shopping local, and obviously shopping with their own people, so that money starts to circulate naturally. And I already see that happening. I buy so much stuff from small businesses, most of them being black. And then I'm a hustler, so I support hustlers. I support local artisans. You know, I'm in Puerto Rico, so I like to buy from local farmers and everything that I can. You know what I'm saying? I just think I see that as the trend, because social media has, you know, it makes it to where you get more aware of people that's doing stuff on a smaller level, you know, and then you can get more into their story.
Yeah. Well, I go along with that. Let me jump in again here and say that, see, you know, when we use our imagination, A lot of things we don't have to say. We don't have to say black this, black that, because first of all, we can't make, it ain't enough of us just to sell the blacks. We got a built-in market where you deal with blacks. That's called a built-in market, but we selling to everybody, everybody on the planet. Chinese, Europeans, Japanese, we selling to everybody. We want to come together collectively and build big business so we can deal with everyone. You understand what I'm saying? And then people say, well, when blacks, when we do build something, man, they come down and burn it down like they did in Chelsea and this, that, and other. We got to stop looking at what we don't want to happen and start looking at what we do want to happen and how we going to protect that which we look at that's going to happen. Right. Okay? That's what we need to do, man. And another thing, and I say this here, and I'm going to turn it over to you. It's like a lot of older black folks think young folks is say they kind of loose, man. They kind of crazy, these young folks. And they ain't talking about all young people, but a lot of them don't emphasize all of them, because you got some young folks that's on the ball, Jack, plain and simple. I got some young friends, they on the ball, Yeah. And so imagine that old folks not saying that. Imagine say these young folks gonna do this thing here. They're gonna put this thing together. Imagine, and then you got young folks say, man, I ain't thinking about them old niggas, man. You know what I mean? I ain't thinking about that. They ain't did nothing all this time, man. You understand what I'm talking about? And a lot of young blacks, if you don't have materialistic things, they think that you ain't about nothing. But wisdom and knowledge ain't got nothing to do with material things. You understand what I'm saying? You might catch a man, you understand what I'm saying? You might catch a man. I first started hustling in the street. I was hustling with junkies that would have their arm up and stuff. I just looked the other way. Man, you ready, man? Come on, let's go. And do our thing. It don't make, but they knew how to get some money. That's my point. Yeah. I'm making. See, I'm talking about a principle. I ain't telling nobody to go find nobody that's using dope or nothing. But I'm talking about a principle. Principles work in anything you do up under the sun. Now, whatever that you do, if you're doing something that ain't kosher, now there's circumstances with your action. You follow what I'm saying? And so I just want to say that in closing, it's like about politics, man. What's going on today. Just imagine if young folks and older folks, see, it's a lot of old folks and young folks, they don't know about politics. I don't know a lot about politics myself. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I don't know a lot about politics. But why wouldn't you know a lot about who going to present some money for you and some policy for you to be able to do certain things? Why wouldn't you want to know about where that is, where that's at? You can't play no system if you don't understand it. How you going to be successful in a country that deals in politics and you don't know politics? Right. How can you be successful? Because all they got to do is write a law on you, and you say, well, they going to do that anyway if I know it. No, if you know, and you putting stuff down constantly yourself, right. You at the table, you making a deal. Right. You in the game. You at the table. You ain't sitting back way back talking about, I ain't fucking with that. I ain't with that. You know what I'm saying? So just imagine, that you studying, and you got to study, you got to read. Man, you got some young folks ain't read 3 books in their life. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? I got some kin folks, man. Ain't read 3 books. Man, they 25 years old. Man, you should be reading a book, at least 1 book every 90 days. At least. Should be 2 or 3 in 90 days. At least, man, because whatever you want to do, you got to get information about it. You got to get that. So I just wanted to say that, man. And,
Well, I
I'm gonna
appreciate you,
turn it
Ty.
back
You
over to
know what I'm
you, man.
saying? I don't know if you see these leaves shaking behind me, but it feels like another one of them tropical storms is coming through. So yeah, we about to
Yeah, I
jump
see
off
it
of this.
moving a little bit.
Yeah, we about
Yeah,
to jump off. All type of leaves is falling down. So Mother Nature's letting us know it's time to wrap up. So I appreciate you,
yeah,
Ty. We're gonna get you back on here, man, maybe next week because we just got, a tip of the iceberg, and I want to ask you more questions, more specifically for people that's starting to create content, like yourself. I'm getting back in the game, and just give people some inspiration because you done came from, you a self-made man, you know what I'm saying? So you have a lot of insight that people don't have. And one thing that kind of burns my thing when I see all these people selling mentorship, you know what I'm saying? So if I can bring on an elder that's gonna offer up some knowledge and wisdom, I would love to do that more often. So any last words from you, brother Tyrone?
yeah. I'm this is Tyrone Stephens and Turning Point Podcast, and I'm on to show this show on my podcast. So, Justin, I would like for you, if you would, I would like for you to send me, this show here, so I can show it, on Turning Point Podcast, because this is
All right.
it's a good show. I like this show. I feel good about what you're doing. I feel good about what I'm doing, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate that very much, man.
Okay, until next time, man. This is the Afro Rico show for the culture. Peace and love.
Peace.